following show is a paid program.
Hey family, how you doing today? I am so excited on today. You will meet the Waffle Queen, Miss Glynis Albright, CEO of Glynis Kitchen. She is also married to national jazz artist Gerald Albright. Hey lady, how are you doing?
I am doing fine. Thank you for having me.
I was so excited on today. All last week we couldn't have you on because our winter storm in Texas. You're there in Colorado with 8 inches of snow. I know you're looking at us like, what in the world? But I know, right? I'm so glad you're on here with me. First of all, thank you for the opportunity. Wow. Look at you on today. Your husband, national jazz recording artist, was on here, and the first 30 minutes, was bragging about his queen. And, and I tell you, he said, you got to get her on. And I said, absolutely. Let's get started and find out, how did you start in the kitchen? How did you start cooking?
Around 10 years old. My father actually got into a really bad car accident. Mm-hmm. So it meant that my mother had to go to work. Mm-hmm. And it also meant that when Glynis got in from school, I had to fix dinner, clean the house, and have everything ready when my mom, came in from work. So it started from there. And, really earlier in life, I used to watch my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my parents cook, and I would sneak in the kitchen and sit there and watch them. So it started earlier, but at 10 years old, I really had to put my skills into play.
Absolutely. Let's also add that you're from New Orleans. So anybody I know from New Orleans got to be able to cook.
I've never met anyone from New Orleans who didn't know how to cook.
Absolutely. So, absolutely. And then you went to Los Angeles.
Yes, we relocated to Los Angeles, California when I was 10. And now we're here in beautiful Castle Rock, Colorado. We've been here for over 15 years.
Wow. And we were just talking about the fact of you and Gerald. How did you guys meet? Because he's the one that tests the food.
Yes. We met in junior high school, which is now called middle school.
Right.
And I was 13 years old. So you can do the math. Next year it'll be 50 years. I'm 63 now. Gerald and I are both 63 and a half.
No, never.
Yes. And, when I first saw him, he was this cute little shy kid. Mm-hmm. Gerald carried a briefcase and a pencil behind his left ear because he's left-handed. And I go, who's the kid carrying the briefcase and the pencil behind his ear? And then in the other hand, he would have his saxophone case. Mm-hmm. People would say, that's Gerald Albright. And I thought he was cute, but we didn't really get a chance to talk to each other until the following year. And he sent me a note asking me to be his girl. Will you go with me? And there were 2 boxes, yes and no. And the very next day, June 9th, 1972, I wrote in between the boxes, let's give it a try. This is history.
Wow.
So June 9th, 1972. So it's almost 49 years. Yeah.
Absolutely. You told me about some things that you all have together. Some dates that we want to talk about just a little bit.
Gerald and I were both born on the same day, August 30th. Mm-hmm. We have the same initials, GAA. So I'm Glynis Albert, and he was Gerald Anthony Albright. And we were both born at the same time. Only he's older. He's AM and I'm PM. So it was meant to be. What can I say?
Absolutely. In starting on your food, just along the way in 10, you were always kind of, when you got into college along the way, you were the hub where people would stop for food.
Yeah. Yep. I was the hub. people who studied with me, my sorority sisters, Delta Sigma Theta. Anyone I met, they always ended up at my apartment. I never lived in the dorms. I always wanted to have my own apartment. So I left home at 17. I had a wonderful job, making good money back then in the 70s. And 2 weeks after I graduated from high school, I moved out near UCLA in Westwood and had my own apartment with a roommate. And my roommate was an AKA. So the two of us got along very well. And that was the hub. People knew Glynis knows how to cook. And my specialty was waffles, pancakes, and crepes. And we ate those for breakfast and for dinner and after show. And if you look at the logo, I'm wearing a waffle skirt, a crepe bustier, and a pancake necklace. So all that, the logo plays a part too in what I did for years.
Absolutely. Let's do this. Yeah. Let's look at the video, just a little bit, tidbit of the waffles. Let's go, guys.
Thank you. Okay.
Hi, I'm Glynis Albright. Welcome to Glynis's Kitchen. Today, we're going to be making waffles. So let me tell you all the ingredients that you'll need. 4 eggs, 1 1/2 cups of heavy whipping cream, 3/4 cup of Glynis's Kitchen waffle mix. You'll also need a spatula, a fork, some powdered sugar, a Belgian waffle iron, and a hand or stand mixer. So, let's get started. The first ingredients are 4 eggs. We're going to whip these eggs for 15 minutes with the whip attachment. There we go. Now it's time to add in the heavy whipping cream. Notice I've turned the mixer down. You don't want to splash. The heavy whipping cream is going to start getting thick right away.
Absolutely. You guys can pick up the rest of that on her YouTube. And we want to know everything about that. You have certain elements, and I love the fact that you do each one of them, walk people through it so they won't be surprised. They don't have to just read it. They can see you do it.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, we live in a fast-paced world where a lot of times people don't have time to read the side of the box.
Yes.
So yeah, go to the YouTube channel, Glynis's Kitchen, and you can make the waffles with me. And also on my page, my Facebook page, Gerald and I, we did a live show of me making the waffles.
Yes.
On National Waffle Day. So there are different ways where you can, see the video. Or you can just reach out to me, contact me, and I'll get right to you and walk you through it a little bit.
Absolutely. Let's talk about you becoming the waffle queen. At first, I saw it was America's waffle queen, but you are international waffle queen. How did that come about?
In 2017, I've always been called the waffle queen, but that was my friends and family.
Right.
But in 2017, I did a cruise, the Dave Cause cruise, which is a jazz cruise. And I've been cruising since 2007 on 3 different cruise lines: Celebrity, Royal Caribbean, Holland America, taking my foods onto the cruise ships for everyone to taste. So in 2017, we went to Venice, Italy, and that's where it all started. I wanted to test out the waffle mix. And we did 16 days on the cruise ship. Arrived in Venice, Italy 2 days beforehand. Went over how to make the waffles with the executive chef. And we began to serve the waffles just as a tester.
Right.
And everything went over well. But when I reached back to the States, when I got back to the States, my patent attorney said, "Oh, where have you been?" And I said, "Oh, Venice, Italy, Couture, Croatia, Santorini." And I was naming up all the places I went where people were eating the waffles. And he says, "Oh, no, you're the waffle queen. You can't say America. You're on international soil."
Right.
With water.
Right.
So I was like, "Oh, wow, this is wonderful." So I ended up getting my original title, the Waffle Queen. And I'm just so excited about it.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just bringing those on. I heard you say from 2007 you started with this, going on, bringing them on the cruise ship.
Yes. 2007, I started doing a lot of recipes on the cruise ship. So you know how most times on the cruise ships they have different activities that are going on? And one of the activities was cooking with Glynis Albright. And at first, my cooking sessions were, I would say maybe 150 people would show up. And then it grew. So they ended up putting me in what's called the crow's nest because over 700 people were showing up. And it was such a blessing because they were coming in to taste the food. They wanted to know, what is she cooking today? Sometimes I would do cookies, different cakes. One time we did sweet potato latkes. Oh gosh, I did mac and cheese, where it was being served all over the ship. So 2007 was the start of me doing the shows on the cruise ships. Now it's not just any cruise ship; it was mainly the jazz cruises.
Right.
And so Gerald would be one of the principal artists, and I would always say, "Excuse me, do you need a little cooking on the show?"
Right.
And they would say, "Yeah, bring your wife along, and we're going to make her a part of the, the activities for the cruise line." So I'm really, really blessed that not only were my products being shipped nationwide, but they were also being served on various cruise lines as well.
Absolutely. While we're talking about that, when did you start thinking, I'm really going to do a mix? I'm really going to, because, you've got about 40 million people now unemployed, right?
Right.
They each have a dream. And many of them, they didn't want to go to work anyway. They have their dream, but they have to make a living in, right? But they still have something that's really a purpose inside of them, just like you. This is beautiful.
Right.
How did you decide or think or when this is what I want to do?
Well, it all started in the early 90s. I became very ill.
Yeah.
So I have a heavy science background. I'm a leukemia survivor. So my diet had to change and my lifestyle had to change.
Right.
I decided while I'm at home healing, I need to put together foods that would help with the healing process.
Right.
So I started creating this dessert line. So my first company was called Just Sweet Enough. And I decided to do desserts because most times when you're really ill and your life is being threatened, the doctor removes what?
Sugar.
Dessert. Usually sugar and salt taken out of your diet.
Yeah.
So I said, wow, okay, so you're suffering from a life-threatening illness. You're already depressed over that.
Right.
And now I can't eat the foods that I like. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So I decided to come up with a dessert line. And every time I would go in for my doctor's appointments twice a week, I would leave samples of my cookies, cakes, and little mini pies there on the table.
Yeah.
And pretty soon people were asking, well, where's the lady? Where's the cake lady? Or where's the cookie lady?
Right.
I had all these different names, so they never knew my name. And a few years later, I decided once I was better.
Right.
This is turning into a company. People were beginning to call me. And one of my first clients was Irvin Magic Johnson. I know him as Irvin. And he announced that he had the HIV virus. And he asked me, can you create something for me with all the science background? Cooking is chemistry.
Right.
I began to do research on HIV and then find out what foods would help with healing,
right,
as well as what foods would help with me with leukemia. And I began to put those ingredients into the desserts.
right.
So by training a nutritional therapist, and what I do is I heal through nutrition,
Yes.
nutrition therapy.
Yes.
And it became a business. And after a while, I was shipping my treats all over the country. And then I started working with Dr. Mal Phoebe of the Phoebe Pouch. And he asked me to create a dessert for his patients that had had gastric bypass surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So I created cookie dots for them. Then people were calling me about their pets being sick, and they were
Yes.
doggy cookies.
Right.
Then Mrs. Albright tea cakes,
Mhm.
where tea is the element that's infused in.
Right.
So I started company after company after company, and everything was around food
Right.
and the healing, that food can do.
Right.
And, but the source of it was my faith in God, because God really, he took me through.
Yeah.
He brought me through all of this with the
Right.
knowledge and the determination to help others.
Right.
And the word just began to spread, and people would come to me and say, can you create this? Can you create that? And my mind would get to going, okay,
Right.
let me try that. And then around 2010, folks started saying, well, what about the waffles that we eat when we come to your house? Can you put that in a box?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, I do that for free. You come to my house, you get the waffles, the pancakes, and the crepes. But by 2017, I decided it's time.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on and manufacture the mix. And, how you think, oh, okay, my friends will buy it and a few people,
Yeah.
but it just took off.
Absolutely.
So now the Waffle Queen really takes over my life. I ended
Right.
up having to take all the other companies off the website
Right.
because being the Waffle Queen is 24/7.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that. I wanted for others to hear the story
Mhm.
of how you have been able to help so many millions of people heal
Yeah.
through food. Because
Yes, through
that's
food.
the first thing that doctors say. You can't eat this. You can't eat that. You can't eat that. You can't eat that. And many of us say, well, shoot, what can I eat?
What can I eat? Right. Yeah. When I was diagnosed with leukemia, one of the key elements that was that I had to have was beta carotene
Right.
and sweet potatoes. I'm like, wait a minute, beta carotene, carrots, sweet potatoes, a lot of greenery. So all the cakes, cookies, and pies that I created had fruits, vegetables, herbs, and spices.
Yes.
And when you really use the delicious herbs and spices that God has created for us,
Mhm.
you really don't need all that salt and sugar, because we really crave flavor. That's what
Right.
we really want.
Right.
And sugar, those are flavor enhancers.
Mhm.
So I found out through chemistry that you really don't need to have all that sugar, that you can have just enough. So that's why the company was called Just Sweet Enough. I had to find that threshold
Right.
between not enough, not sweet enough, and too sweet.
Right.
Just sweet enough. And I never added salt. I didn't need the salt because I had cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, vanilla extract, all those things to put into these delicious cakes, cookies, and pies. And so I didn't need to add all the sugar and salt.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
I just want to make this point too, Cam. Although Glynis's Kitchen waffle mix is considered as a comfort food, I still treat it as though it's a healthy food. If you look at the ingredients, I use herbs and spices for the color instead of dye. And I use real ingredients. So there's real sugar in there, real flour, cinnamon, nutmeg, the vanilla extract. Those things are in the waffle mix instead of using artificial sweeteners
Right.
and colors.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then look at the benefits that you get from it.
Right.
You get the smell, you get the taste, and you get the healing properties as well.
Absolutely. Let's do this. We'll take a break and we'll be right back with Miss Glynis Albright.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
Light up your new year with a top-rated luxury SUV from Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 XT4 Luxury Collection for $319 a month, the new 2021 XT5 Luxury Collection for $399 a month, or the new 2021 XT6 Luxury Collection for $459 a month. All for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
Amazing things for you.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy, because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, thanks so much for coming back. We're talking to Glynis Albright. Hey, Miss Glynis, we were just talking about the fact about all of the things that you're putting in your ingredients and that really help people that maybe have a sickness or something. And we were also talking about the fact that you don't need a lot of the sugars and the salts like most are in there.
Once you put the flavor in, why? There's no reason for it. Yes,
And
just the smell of cinnamon and nutmeg and allspice. I mean, it just smells so good, and vanilla.
You have another one called All-Purpose Coating Mix. How did that one come about?
Well, at first, when it was first released, it was called Glynis's Poultry Coating Mix. So, that way you can mix, the chicken and the waffles. But then my audience started using the coating mix for everything, for their fish, seafood, steaks, lamb chops, pork chops. I had to go back to the drawing board again. I go, we need to change the name to All-Purpose Coating Mix. And in the process, we also made all the products kosher as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's do this. Let's look at a video of you using the all-purpose coating mix.
Coating mix, yes.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Glynis Albright. Welcome to Glynis's Kitchen. Today we're going to be frying chicken. Of course, we're going to be using Glynis's Kitchen all-purpose coating mix. All of the ingredients for coating the chicken are inside the box, but here are some of the other kitchen utensils that you can use from your own kitchen. 2 large mixing bowls, 1 whisk, 1 1-cup measuring cup, and 2 quarts of safflower oil, which is my favorite for frying chicken. Whenever I fry chicken, I'm always using a cast iron skillet. But you can use any frying pan that you have at home. You can also air fry your chicken as well as put it in the oven to bake it. Now let's talk about the main ingredient, the chicken. Here I have 2 dozen drumsticks and 1 dozen boneless, skinless chicken thighs. They have been washed and drained. Let's get to the coating mix. Inside the box, we have the seasonings. It's the large bag. And then we have the buttermilk soak. This is really important. If you want that delicious southern buttermilk fried chicken the way grandmother used to make, this is the packet. So the first thing we're going to do is going to open up our buttermilk soak. Going to pour it into one of the large bowls. The directions are on the back of the packet. It will tell you to add 3 cups of water.
That is a good one. You'll go to her page, YouTube page, and look at the rest of that one. But we were just talking about not just for chicken. It can be for all types.
All meats. Yeah. And it's like, wow, okay. So I started fiddling around with it too. I'm like, okay, they're good on pork chops.
Mm-hmm.
All right, they're good on steaks. And then all my relatives would call in too and let me know. And of course, the audience would post pictures of their pork chops.
Right.
One young lady did her fried ribs and some of the recipes I had never heard of. But I'm like, yay! Be creative out there. Do it. And the fact that everything is in the box.
Everything is in the box.
Yes. Usually when you're making a good buttermilk, Southern fried chicken, the buttermilk soak consists of buttermilk, eggs, and salt. And, your grandma would take those ingredients, whisk them up, put your chicken in it, and let it soak overnight. So I figured, how can I do that? I want to include that in the packet. So there you go. You get that little packet. So you don't have to go out and buy, buttermilk and eggs and all that. It's right there in the box. And all you need is the chicken. Yes.
That's good to know. And these two together, everybody loves. If we were going to do is chicken and waffles, that's a real thing here. And you were just telling me about how chicken and waffles, how that came about you going to a restaurant.
Yes. Once we moved to California, fast forwarding to my college days, Gerald actually introduced me to a place called Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. And all the musicians would go there after the concerts. Because, what restaurant is open late at night? Most times after a concert, you're getting out about, let's say it ends at 11 or 12. By the time they load up all their equipment and try to find some place to eat, the pickings were pretty slim.
Right.
But Roscoe's was open, I believe, until 3 a.m. So we would end up there with all of our friends. And that was the main deal, chicken and waffles. And I go, okay, well, I'm already doing waffles. I'll come up with a coating mix so they can make chicken and waffles at home. That's where it all began.
Absolutely. So Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
Once I saw that, I was like, okay, I can do that. Yes.
Absolutely.
Make room for Glynis. I don't ever want to discredit anyone. It's just, there's room for everybody. Just scoot over a little bit and make room for me.
Oh, absolutely. Always. What have you learned along the way as you've been going through this process?
Well, I came up with, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
But I came up with, I call it business CPR. Business CPR. The C for create. And I tell all the young people out there, come up with something that stands apart from everything else. I know there's a lot of waffle companies out there, but I wanted my waffles to stand out.
Right.
There's something different about it, which we'll discuss later. So create. And then once you create something, protect it. Make sure that you hire a patent attorney, protect your name, protect your logo, protect your product. You got to protect it because there's always someone out there who may have more capital than you, will take that idea and it becomes theirs.
Yes.
Then after you have created it and protected it, then you release it to the public and decide how you're going to release it. Are you going to release it so that you can sell it to another company, sit back and let your product work for you? Or, you can just release it like I did in a product form where everyone else can have a taste of it. Are you going to handle just your community? Are you going to do it nationwide? Or are you going to go global? All these things you have to think about when you're putting together, your product. Because it's easy to say, oh yeah, well, I want to start baking cookies. I want to start a cookie company. And there's more to it than just baking cookies. Decide how are you going to, because your friends and your family, they want free stuff.
Right.
Am I going to do this for money or is it going to be a hobby?
Right.
So I start off with business CPR, create, protect, then release it. And when you're releasing it, decide how you want to release it, to the world or just to a few people. Do I want to be a businesswoman or do I want to do this for fun?
Right.
And I decided I wanted the world to know about my products.
Right. So that means
So
you're
I
opening door for a manufacturing company. You have to find
Yes.
someone that actually can do the volume.
Yes. The goodness about Glynis's Kitchen is knowing that I'm employing so many people because
Right.
those boxes have to be manufactured as well.
Yes.
So there's a factory here in Denver called Warnke Paper Box, and they have over 20 employees. So now they get to work. They're doing my boxes.
Right.
Then another company, Rocky Mountain Spice, I had to find a co-packager to actually put the product together for me. And you see the boxes come down the assembly line, and then the bags drop in, and it's just a wonderful process. So again, here are another 20 to 30 people that have jobs because now they're making the waffle mix.
Right.
And then it has to be shipped out to different distribution companies. So now you have more employees that are there. So I take pride in the fact that I'm helping to help the nation, really. Just help to keep people employed, as well as my own team. I have someone to operate my website, Desiree Benson, of course, doing all of my publicity and my content editing and stuff. So it's a process. It's not just about me sitting there making chicken and waffles. You have to decide whether you're going to do it on your own or whether you want to share it with the world. If you share it with the world, you will need a manufacturer to get it out there.
And I remember you saying earlier that you had a science background. Many times God gives us our gifts, right? We already have our gifts, and we have to just utilize the gifts that God has given us. And when you said, when Irvin Magic Johnson called me, I had to just kind of research and go back. What could I do to help? Even in your own life,
Right, yeah. Heavy science background. I was actually going to school to be a surgeon, a brain surgeon. But God took me in another direction.
Right.
So if you be a doctor, but not in that area, you're going to be a doctor over in this area. I want you to heal over here. And, and I tear up whenever I talk about this. The signs were already there at 10.
Right.
But, we come into this world and we want to do things our way.
Right.
I want to do this, I want to do that. But all of my talents were right there, all the science background, the math that's involved.
Right.
Studying, psychology, epidemiology, all these things I had to harness so that I can create the foods that I do. And it's just a blessing to be able to share it with the world.
And the world, you're sharing it with the world and helping the world, because many people are going through, in a sense, they do get diagnosed. And like we said, the first thing the doctor says, you can't eat all of that. And you're thinking, wait a minute, all of that's what I love.
Right, yeah. But once you sit down and think about the relationship that we all have with food, because we all eat for different reasons. Sometimes we eat because we're hungry.
Right.
We eat for nutrition. Sometimes we eat because we're depressed. We eat because we're happy.
Yes.
We eat socially. Sometimes we eat religiously a certain way. So we all have a different relationship, with food. And for me at that time, food was my part of my medicine.
Yes.
Healing. And I tried to share with other people my testimony as a cancer survivor, how important nutrition is, to eat real food, especially not today. We live in a world where everything is fast paced.
Yes.
You drive through a place and for $5 you can get a whole meal. But what's in that meal?
Right.
Read the labels to find out what are the ingredients. What are those things doing to my system? And so it was a new turn for me at 35 years old to be diagnosed with a life-threatening illness. For a doctor to say, if we don't get you together, you won't see 36.
Right.
But when I turned 63 last year, it was such a joy, because I go, wow, 36, flip it around, 63. I'm 63 and I'm still here.
Right.
Because of the way I took care of my body. I ate the right things. I did work out. I had to get rid of stress. I had to get rid of people that brought me stress.
Right.
That's important too. And my whole lifestyle had to change. I wasn't eating on the run, because it wasn't that I ate, bad foods. I just had poor eating habits. I was eating on the run, gobbling down food, skipping meals.
Yes.
We're known for that,
Yes.
especially women, children. You skip a meal and you're rushing, you're driving, you're trying to gobble down your food and grabbing, drinks here, soda here, not drinking your water and the whole bit. So my whole lifestyle had to change in order for me to get Glynis, back to Glynis, because I wanted to see my kids grow up.
Right.
I wanted to see my grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said it, that yes, you were diagnosed then, but you knew you had to change. And not only did you help yourself, you help the world now. Just think of that.
Yeah. It's a wonderful feeling.
Oh, yeah.
It really, really is. Cam, don't make me cry.
I won't. But you are global. You're just thinking about this. It's a lot of diabetics that have tuned in too. They've also said they're going to get this too, because of course they've had to change their lifestyle as diabetics, and just everyone, high blood pressure, diabetics. I mean, we have all type of illnesses and things that are happening now, and we can live. We can live.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Read those food labels.
Yeah.
Listen to your doctor.
Yes.
And, there's so many cookbooks and things out there. In fact, I am writing a cookbook as well.
Okay.
That will help people, especially those that are, diabetics and have various cardiovascular diseases.
Right.
And it's really not hard. It really isn't. I thought it was going to be hard when I was diagnosed. Because, at first you feel like, oh, my life is being, taken away from me.
Right.
But that's a man sentence. That was a sentence that a man gave to me.
Right.
And I lay there in that bed and I looked at my two children. Selena was 12 at the time, entering high school. She had skipped 2 grades. And Brandon was 4, entering the 1st grade. So I had 2 genius kids. And I go, I want to see these 2 kids grow up.
Right.
And they were there with me all the way. They had to grow up pretty fast because now they were taking care of mommy. And Gerald was on the road. At the time, Gerald was traveling with Whitney Houston. And so he was gone a lot.
Yeah.
And kids really grew up and helped me out. And here I am today.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
There's, like I said, there's no way 63, but I'm going to take it. I'm going to go ahead and take what you said.
Yes. August 30th, 64.
And while you're saying that to people, I'm glad you're talking about that to dreamers, people that have the dreams. What would you tell those people right now that have dreams? Maybe not in the kitchen, but period, if they want to do something in life.
Yeah, I always tell them to stick to your dream. Like really stay focused. Don't let the naysayers and the haters, distract you, from your dream. My mom used to always tell me, and it took me a while to figure out what she was saying. She said, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. And I was like, what?
Right. Right.
But then, don't talk so much. Keep your business to yourself. When you're creating that, whatever it is that you want to do or making out that business plan, talk about it after it's done. So don't let your left hand know what your right hand's doing. Because sometimes when we talk a little bit too much, we meet up with a lot of naysayers.
Yes.
And haters. We'll try to convince us, girl, you can't do that. I mean, can you just think about all the people who told me that you're not going to be able to do that?
Right.
If I had listened to them, I would not own 5 food companies today.
Right.
If I had listened to them.
And if you had just stopped at 36, even at 36, if you had just stopped.
Yes. If I had given up then.
Yes.
So I would tell them all, stay focused, stay on your path. And you are going to run into some obstacles along the way. There were quite a few people who said no to me and they closed the doors, but I just went to another door, just kept knocking. And sometimes behind every closed door, there's a whole bunch of windows. You just got to jump through.
You said
and that's
that.
what I did. I jumped through all of them.
You said that one right there. You said that one. Because so many people. So many people have family members, people that are very close to them. And they're the main ones telling, and best friends or whomever will say, no, don't do that. You need to stop. You're going too fast or whatever it is. And we say, keep going.
Yes, keep going. Yeah. Well, most times people, they enjoy seeing you right where you are because that gives them comfort.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have to step out of the box and say, no, I'm not for comfort. I want to be that oddball on the side that's doing something different. And I've always been the oddball, so why not continue? You know, keep it going. Keep it going.
Sounds good. Let's do this. We'll take a break and we'll be right back with Miss Glynis Albright.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
Light up your new year with a top-rated luxury SUV from Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 XT4 Luxury Collection for $319 a month, the new 2021 XT5 Luxury Collection for $399 a month, or the new 2021 XT6 Luxury Collection for $459 a month. All for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
Amazing things for you.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We're talking to Miss Glynis. All right, Glynis, let's talk a little bit about we've already talked about telling people to keep going. We've telling the dreamers to keep doing their thing, keep going on their way. Let's just look back and what were some of the things that you would tell people? We've talked about the fact of what you've learned along the way, but by people looking at it, and they're always being stopped. And you said, hey, there's some windows. Go in those windows. If the door is closing, go through the window, go to whatever. Let's talk to people a little bit more about that.
Well, the naysayers.
Yes.
Usually those are the ones that will try to steer you away from your path.
Yeah.
And keep you from doing what you want to do. Someone, I'll share a story, wrote in, and I would consider them to be a naysayer.
Mm-hmm.
And they were criticizing my logo.
Mm-hmm.
And the young lady said, so we've gone from Hoochie Mama to Angel Mama. I was like, what?
What?
But her thing was, why do you have to, why didn't you put your face on the box of Waffle Mix and Coding Mix? And I said, that is me. Mm-hmm. I hired an artist to draw me. It's a caricature of me, but it's still me.
Right.
Evidently, this person has been following me, but she says, well, why do you have to have a low-cut top on and a mini skirt? And I said, there's no low-cut top and mini skirt. Well, and then she compared me to one of my clients, Patti LaBelle. Well, Patti LaBelle didn't put a cartoon character on her pies and cakes. She put her face on it, so I had to let her know. That's Patti LaBelle.
Yeah.
So you have to do what you feel is necessary. Right. Like when I say stay on your path, when you have your vision,
yes,
you stick to your vision.
Yes.
And you stand by it. Mm-hmm. So what it did, when I wrote her back, I expressed to her that she had given me the idea for my next book and also for a sermon that I wrote for a women's church. Yes. And it's called The Stone Collector. So I began to, and I can tell all those people out there who are being bombarded with naysayers, look at them as stone throwers. So I just asked them, are you a stone thrower? Are you a stone collector? And I just told her in so many words, I said, the energy that it takes to throw a stone, you have to position yourself at your ankles. You have to anchor your body, use your core, pick up that stone. It's heavy. You have to use your back, your shoulder, your arm, and then your wrist to release it, because the target and your goal is to destroy or injure the person that you're trying to hurt. But to pick up a stone, you just bend down, pick it up. So I said, this is what I do. I've collected all my stones. I didn't throw them back.
Right.
I built an empire.
Yes.
What did you build with your?
Wow.
No response. So I tell people, decide what you're going to be, a stone collector or a stone thrower. It takes more energy to throw a stone. And why would you want to destroy someone's dream anyway?
Right.
So collect them. Collect everything people say about you and to you. And what I did was I used those stones. Some of them were constructive criticism. It helped me. And I even let her know, you helped me today.
Right.
Because number one, she gave me her time. She took the time to write in. And she showed courage to write to me, because I told her I'm heavily armored. So if you're going to come at me pretty good. So I let her know that she gave me a gift, because now I was able to collect her stone too and continue to build my empire. My empire for my family, my legacy.
Yes.
So when you tell people that, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing with all the things that you're saying to people?
Right.
Are you speaking truth into them and positivity? Or are you trying to tear them down?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And
so become a stone collector and dodge all the folks that are out there saying that you can't do something.
Right.
Try it. At least try.
Right.
Even if it fails, try something else. Just keep it going. But for goodness sake, don't just sit there and say, oh, I can't do it because that person convinced me, that it's not good to do it, or, I don't have the talent for it. What do they know?
Right. Absolutely.
Until you try it, you'll never know until you try it.
Exactly. And I love the fact when you were saying that, hey, Gerald was getting a gig on, on a jazz cruise. You were like, hey, would you all like a cooking class? And you kept doing that.
Kept doing it. I just pushed my way through. I saw a window.
Yes.
And I went through it.
There you go.
I asked, there's a 50% chance that you will get there. They'll either say yes or they'll say no. But you'll never know unless you ask. As soon as I ask, they go, oh, okay. So from 2007 until present, I'm doing the cooking shows whenever Gerald's on a cruise ship.
Right.
I already know I have a gig. And I already know that over 7,000 people will get a chance to eat my food.
Right.
Whenever someone comes up to me and says something, I go, whatever. Just dust it off.
Right.
And it took some time to be able to do that, to have that Teflon to dust it off, because it is hard sometimes, because some, people will say things that really hurt.
Right.
Learned a lot from my kids, made me stronger. Gerald, I watched Gerald too, how he is able to stand up on stage, and I could just see the darts just bouncing right off of him. So I learned a lot as well. And we stick together. We built that Albright wall, that force, and the rest is history.
Absolutely. And I love that about you in doing that. When you were say, a lot of people just want to learn to cook, and then to have an additive of a mix too, that helps them. They don't have to go out and try to figure it out. It's already there.
Yeah. Everything is right there. The instructions are there.
Yes.
They can go to YouTube now and watch me do it.
Right.
And it's there. All the ingredients are there. Just have to add, for the waffle mix, it's just eggs and cream. And for the coating mix, it's just water. In marinade. And of course, some chicken or whatever meat you're going to use.
Right.
And I see you also have my secret sauce mix too.
Yes, I do. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay. Well, last year, we dealt with the pandemic, but I also do the Burke's Jazz Festival. And it's a 2-week festival in Reading, Pennsylvania, home of the Monopoly game. Take a ride on the Reading. So Glynis's Kitchen is also a pop-up kitchen where I pop up all over the country and the world with my kitchen. Mm-hmm. So at Burke's Jazz Festival, at the DoubleTree Hotel, brand new in there. When you stay at the DoubleTree, you always smell those cookies when you walk in.
Yes.
At the hotel in Reading, when you walk in, you smell Glynis's Chicken and Waffles. So they converted their library into Glynis's Kitchen. Mm. So I'm there. The kitchen is there, the restaurant, and we have it as a kitchen. We have it as a walk-up window where you can Cheers restaurant. They would serve it inside at the bar, or you can call in. So there's different ways for you to get the chicken and waffles. Well, they called me up and they said, okay, this year we would like to do something different. We want to offer just something different. And I said, well, there's different companies out there that have a chicken sandwich. Why don't I come up with the Burke's Anniversary Chicken Sandwich? Mm-hmm. And that's how the sauce came about. I came up with the sandwich, and you can also go to the YouTube channel to see how to make the sandwich. And once the pandemic hit, the tour was canceled. Right. And I said, well, I'm not going to let this sandwich just sit. I'm gonna release it. So the main thing you needed was the sauce. Right. Of course, if you had the chicken. And the rest is history. So you just add the ingredients that's on the back, mayonnaise, sour cream, add a little water, whip it up, and use that sauce. Of course, your chicken has already been fried with Glynis's Kitchen Cody mix, right? Right. And put it all together, and you have a delicious sandwich. I'm not downplaying Popeyes or Chick-fil-A or any of the other companies out there. Right. Just make room for Glynis's chicken sandwich. There okay? You go. So that's how the secret sauce mix came about. And it does have a kick to it. Mm-hmm. If you can't handle the heat, just add a little less of the mix. Right. So that way, yeah. Absolutely. Let's start telling, how do we get the mix? You can get the mix different ways. First of all, you can go to GlynisKitchen.com and I will ship to your door. You can also go to TJ Maxx Companies, which owns Marshall's, TJ Maxx, and Home Goods, but mainly Home Goods stores. I am in 750 stores all over the country, mainly the Midwest, the South, and the East Coast. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we'll make it to the West Coast and the central part of the U.S. But to be in 3 different regions, yes, first time getting out there, happy about it. And to say that, it's not 7 stores, but it's 750 stores. I'm really happy. Yes. Well, so I'm really excited. You can also reach me inside Glynis Kitchen at gmail.com if you want to write to me. Mm-hmm. I'm also on Facebook, yes, Twitter, Instagram, inside Glynis Kitchen or Glynis's Kitchen. Either way, I will pop up. Absolutely. I've been so excited about today. I appreciate the opportunity, lady. Can you believe it's all over? I can't believe this. Where did the time go? Where did the time go? Right. When you're having fun. When you're having fun. 750 stores. Yes, yeah. And globally through Zulily.com. Okay. People who live in Singapore, Australia, right, UK, they can get the product through Zulily.com. And one other secret, I just signed on with QVC. Ooh, yes. So we're working out all the legalities. Yeah. But pretty soon you'll be able to get the product through QVC as well. So I'm just really, really excited. I'm feeling so blessed that all during the pandemic, Glynis's Kitchen was all over the place. Absolutely. So very, very blessed. Well, people are cooking at home more anyway, so this is great. Yeah, there you go. Excellent. Yes. Now, Cam, there was one other product, Glynis's Kitchen Scratch Mix. Yes. But there's no more Scratch Mix. Home Goods bought out all of my product. Home Goods. So in order to get the Scratch Mix, you have to go to Home Goods. Okay. Go to Home Goods.
Well, that gives everybody an opportunity, please. Now, wait a minute. All the ladies said, "Hey, husband, I got to go to Home Goods."
There you go. Yeah, so they can get the scratch mix there. And the scratch mix is it's more of a baking flour.
Yes.
Where you can make, cakes and cookies and pie crust, things like that.
Perfect. Thank you, lady. And we will be putting it everywhere. We will be posting it and telling everybody where to go buy them. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank your king, Gerald Albright, for everything. And thank you both for everything you all are doing for the world. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, lady, for everything. See you soon. On tomorrow, we will be having Representative Sophonia Thompson from Texas, and she'll be on here 12:30 to 1:30 Central Standard Time. See you then. Bye.